Mark Worry. Hey, Mark, so we had, of course, Joe Biden in the race, a losing ground to Donald Trump. Kamala Harris gets in the race. It seems to be tied up. You have a debate. Harris gets the bump from the debate, goes up 4 or 5 points, and then it comes back where you knew it was going to come back to. We're 3 weeks out. We're tied. It's 48-48. And there's some really interesting numbers I want to ask you about. And mainly about Kamala Harris needing to lock down a higher percentage of Hispanic voters, needing to lock down a higher number of black voters, and also, of course, carrying on the other side of the margin, carrying a historic number of white educated voters. And it's just fascinating to see how all that's going to play together. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, and Joe, you're exactly right. The timing of our poll is really instructive here. And when our September poll came out and had Harris with a 5-point lead over Donald Trump, that, of course, was after the debate. It was after a really rough news environment for Donald Trump with the discussion about Springfield, Ohio. And now, all of a sudden, we do show a tied race. And what has occurred is that those soft Republicans, non-MAGA Republicans, have come back home to Trump. In our September poll, they were lagging, obviously, after the debate, after the discussion of Springfield, Ohio. Our poll finds them that they are back with Trump, and that explains him going from 44% in our poll in September now to 48%. But, Joe, you ended up mentioning the things that Harris has to work on with shoring up Latino voters, getting African-Americans in the fold, white women. Our poll ends up having a really big gender gap, where Harris has a 14-point lead among female voters, while Donald Trump has a 16-point lead among male voters. That's overall a 30-point net gender gap. And what is kind of fascinating is that Trump's lead with men is slightly larger than Harris's lead with women. And if her ability to get back in a lead, national lead over Trump is being able to have a bigger lead among women than Trump's lead among men. And so a lot of those demographics, this is the last 3 weeks of the race. This is why you end up having mobilization and campaign to be able to juice your turnout, to shore up your weaknesses. And we're going to see what both campaigns have up their sleeves over the next 3 weeks.
So, Mark, talk about this closing message on migration and specifically the way that Donald Trump is talking about that. What impact does that have on whatever number of undecided voters there are? We're looking at about, 4 to 6% who say they are undecided still. And talk about the general population, then talk about Hispanic voters and the impact that it might have on them, because that seems to be a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, Katty. And so, Donald Trump is leaning into the immigration issue because this is his strongest argument. Our poll shows him having a 25-point edge over Harris when it comes to which candidate is better when it comes to immigration and the border discussion. And so Donald Trump is going right into his strengths. When it comes to undecided voters, he is a candidate, and this was true in 2016. It was true in 2020. He doesn't really see as somebody who wants to moderate. I'm going to try to win over the independent voters, Nikki Haley voters. He goes directly into his base, and that helped him in 2016. It didn't help him in 2020, and we'll see what ends up happening in 2024. And when you talk about the immigration issue and Latino voters specifically, our own deep dive into Latino voters shows that Latinos aren't monolithic, that you end up having conservative Latinos, you end up having liberal Latinos, you have Latinos who live in California, those who live in Florida, and they are very diverse. But what has happened is that Latino voters are really split when it comes to, do you want to see more enforcement, a crackdown at the border, or do you want to see a path to legalization, a path to citizenship, the DREAM Act, and we, how divided we are as a country ends up showing just how divided the Latino community is and Latino voters are as a whole.
Well, it's so funny you say that, Mark. I remember during the '96 campaign. That's how long. That's how old I am. But I remember saying that Democrats always made the mistake of thinking all Hispanics wanted the most liberal immigration policies out there. It's just not the case. Again, it's not a monolithic group, and that's something I think the Democrats have misplayed often through the years by thinking it is. I want to ask you really quickly right now, because I'm sure whatever NBC polls say or other polls say, people will be coming back afterwards and saying they were wrong for one reason or the other. Of course, we remember leading up, and I'm going to show some clips later on in the show, leading up to the 22 election just 2 years ago. We had so many people talking about a red wave, red wave, red wave. In 2016, we often got into debates on this set, Mika and I, with people who were saying there's no way Donald Trump could get to 270 electoral votes. We all remember the New York Times needle that I think was tipped over 98% for Hillary Clinton and then swung back. So you can only be so certain with these polls, right? And so there's a 3%, 3.5% margin of error. Talk about that, and also talk about the difficulty you all have sorting through, and maybe tell us how you do it, sorting through who the voters are, who the group is you're talking to, because, of course, in 20, and a lot of states, Joe Biden's support was wildly overestimated. You know, we saw some polls showing him winning in Wisconsin and Michigan by double-digit leads at the very end. And then in 22, like I said, the polls seemed to undervalue the strength of a lot of Democratic candidates and overvalue Trump-supporting candidates. So how are you guys adjusting to that? It's got to be a bit vertiginous as you go into 24.
Yeah, Joe, great question. And I live and breathe polls, but we can't actually say that these are precise instruments, that our poll shows 48-48, and you have to take it to the bank that that's how the election is going to turn out. Of course, ours is a national poll, and a lot of these, the presidential race will be decided in the states. But one thing that we're trying to do is looking at what different turnout scenarios might end up being, because, again, close races always come down to turnout. And our poll shows a 48-48 tie among Trump and Harris. But we also said, okay, well, what ends up happening if you assume a juiced out Democratic turnout? That is more women who come to the polls, more younger voters, more non-white voters. And we asked our pollsters to say, hey, what do our numbers look like if you assume a more favorable Democratic turnout environment? And our poll shows that Harris ends up taking a 3-point lead over Trump, that all of a sudden that 48-48 tie goes to a 3-point lead for Harris. But what ends up happening if you assume a better Republican turnout? That is a wider electorate, an electorate that is more male than you might end up expecting. And that goes to a 2-point Donald Trump lead. And so, Joe, you mentioned the margin of error. The margin of error in our poll is plus or minus 3.1 percentage points. We can't take these numbers as certainty, as precise measurement. Things end up changing, but most importantly, we just don't know what the turnout is going to end up being in this election. And I think that exercise that we end up having, a juiced up Democratic turnout, a juiced up Republican turnout, our current numbers show you the different kind of ranges of possibilities that might end up happening. And again, Joe, this is really important. We have 3 weeks to go, and a lot can end up happening. A lot ended up happening in 2016 that decided that race, Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. A lot happened in the final days of the 2020 race. And so we have to see what the next 3 weeks bring us.
Well, I'll tell you, exactly. The British Prime Minister, I think it was Wilson, who said in politics, a week is a lifetime. We've got 3 lifetimes left to go in this race, so nobody knows how it ends up. NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray, thank you so much for being on. I greatly appreciate it. And, as always, it's obvious. It's simple. In football, it comes down to blocking and tackling. It comes down to the basics. In politics, comes out the GOTV, getting out the vote. The side that gets their people out in these close races win the election. And it's that basic blocking and tackling. So if you want your candidate to win, you get out the vote, you knock on doors, you pick up the phone, you call your friends, you drive people to the polls, you do whatever it takes. That's how I got elected to Congress the first time. We just kept calling people until they yelled at us and told us to stop calling them, or else they wouldn't vote for us. And they said, what should we do? I go, call them again. Knock on their doors again. Plant yard signs again. And again, 3 weeks. A lot of people acting, no, 3 weeks is a lifetime in politics. So much can change in 3 weeks. So this race is a tie. Anybody that tells you differently doesn't know what they're talking about. This could go in either direction. And if you believe that the future of America is resting on this race, and especially if you live in one of those swing states, you've got 3 weeks to figure out how to make a difference in democracy. And that is what American democracy is about.